G'day everyone and welcome to another Creator Cast. I'm here with Mr. Benon from Gives a Minute. I'm also here with a bunch of pussies. What's going on here? We've got Mr. Danny Black in white, and we've got Mr. Scotty from YouTube. Hello people. Today we're talking about, is it okay to not do 4K? So basically, out of all of us here, the four of us, Benon's the only one that really does 4K.
I do 4K.
Do you?
I mean, I shoot everything. I edit everything in 4K, but...
But do you upload to 1080p?
No, I uploaded 4K.
I didn't know that. Well, we're just learning something as part of the intro. What about you?
1080.
1080 or 1082. So I think what Benon and from what Danny Black was saying just before we went live with this is 5 years from now, someone who's watching videos that we've done today, for instance, are they not going to watch it because it's in 1080p? Will they, like the minimum requirement will be...
If it's like 480p like now, you're going, oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 years ago, 480p was like normal. Like that
yeah,
was
I can notice what...
Yeah, it's getting very dark and spooky.
It's 9 o'clock at 9 o'clock. It goes to sensor lights in this office. So
right.
that's what it is. So yeah, 9 p.m. That's what we're doing here. It looks like it looks as dark as balls, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not too bad.
No. But anyway, so Benon does it in 4K. You do it in 4K.
I do it in 4K.
Why do you guys do it in 4K?
Just for that same reason.
It's just
I
that
want
future
the longevity. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the reason I chose 4K. It's future proofing. When I started 2 years ago, not everyone had, or 4K cameras were hard to come by, and not everyone had 4K televisions. Not everyone still does, but I firmly believe that within the next, say, 3 to 4 years, everybody will have a 4K television, and 4K will be what 1080p is to SD today.
It's kind of like going back 5 years from now and looking at a DVD versus a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4K Blu-rays now, so it's like, yeah. The only reason I don't do 4K really is because my internet's so bad that it can barely handle a 1080 video to watch it, man. Like I've tried to watch one of Benon's videos.
Turn your phone off. What's up?
Very unprofessional.
I wanted to think Benon to it because I knew you'd say something.
Yeah, I've tried to watch Benon's videos at 4K, and I once watched 5 seconds of a 4K video, and it blew my mind. And that was
I think so. The thing to remember with that though is when you're uploading in 4K, the only downside is it takes time. So if you can schedule your situation and your uploads and whatnot to factor that in, and you can afford to wait a day and a half to upload 7 gigs, then it's fine. You know, like the person that gets it at the other end can choose to watch it in SD or in whatever 720 or 1080, whatever they choose. But if it's not delivered in 4K, they can never choose to watch it in 4K. I know Jeremy from Jedboards watches all my vlogs in 4K because he's in Singapore where he can watch it. So I think that it's important to deal with the slow uploads to get the option to be there in 4K, and that's why I've chosen it from the very beginning.
I haven't done it simply because my camera can't actually shoot in 4K. I do it at 1080p is the max. Yeah. And I don't think Canon's got really any plans to do any kind of 4K camera at this level, like at a $1,200 to $1,500 camera.
Yeah, they've got a camera coming out, I'm pretty sure, which is 4K.
They've got the M50 or whatever it is that's just come out. Yeah. But it's pretty poor. It's pretty sketchy. It's not a great camera, but
50 frames a second. I don't think at 4K. It's only 25.
It doesn't do 60. No, just 30. I think 24 and 30. But the thing is, so with that comment about your camera not doing it, when I started my channel, I was originally going to start it earlier, but then I couldn't afford at the time to buy the 4K camera, so I pushed my channel beginnings for another 3 months and saved up a bit of extra money to afford the first camera in 4K. Because I got all my Canon cameras, but they shoot 1080, 5D, 1DX. They all shoot 1080, but I thought, no, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to do it in 4K. Sorry, Jay, I cut you off then. I didn't quite catch.
What about GoPros? Like the latest GoPros, Hero
4K,
5, Hero 6, they're 4K, and you can do like 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
So
they didn't do 4K for a while.
All the good drones.
Yeah, my only problem with the GoPro is the video quality is not too bad, and you can do it in a linear format, but
it's the fisheye. I hate the fisheye look.
Fisheye's not a problem anymore with GoPros.
Yeah, but you can still tell when something's recorded on a GoPro. You can't. I don't know. It makes me almost feel sick. You know what I mean? Like you almost get like motion sickness from it. Like,
well, it's probably because it's just got a high frame rate.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't overly like watching GoPro footage, to be honest. I mean, I have like 3 GoPros, and I reckon I've used it once.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But
I find
audio
the super
sucks.
wide works really well for things like surfing and in the ocean and whatever, but not for everything. Like if you're just cruising around vlogging with the GoPro, it looks a little bit silly in that really fully
I've
wide
also seen
perspective.
videos where people they'll vlog with the waterproof casing on,
Yeah, and
the audio is just like, and I've heard them saying, like maybe you should just take the case off for this part of it. You're not in the water, or just unhook the back or something. And then they'd be like, no, because if I knowing me, I'll drop it and break it. And it's like
it's a GoPro.
It's a GoPro, but at the same time, it's like, just you have to suffer. I don't know. You have to take some responsibility. Like, I don't want to listen to that shit. That's all I know.
Sacrifice quality because you're a bit scared that it might drop.
Yeah.
I've seen, Jay, you've been vlogging a fair bit on your GoPro lately, and I noticed you've been color grading too. That seems like a new thing for you.
No, I've been color grading all the way through, and I normally have a mid-contrast color grade that I put on it. It's just one that I like, and it applies to everything. But the GoPro, I've been dabbling around with color grading. I'm not really happy with the color grading I've done just yet. Still learning how to use the GoPro properly and what it's good for and the right settings and all that. And I've looked at all different kinds of logs to say what the best one is, and a lot of them say exactly the same. Must be linear. Shoot it at 1080p is what they say, because you can get a higher frame rate to do the slow motion stuff, which is what I use the GoPro for.
Yeah.
Like the 120 or 240 frames a second, like awesome on the GoPro.
It's really good on here too on the iPhone. If you do a 1080 120,
okay,
it's you get it good. But when you put that footage into your computer, it'll show up just regular speed. But when you slow it down 25%, it looks like actually the Dawn video that I put out recently, the slow motion stuff was all on my iPhone.
No way.
Like I didn't do any. Nice. Actually, all of it was on my iPhone.
See, I shoot everything 4K 60 except on my GoPro, because the Hero 6 does 60, but I got a Hero 4 and a Hero 5. But what I do, if I'm vlogging and I'm shooting in 60, I can then theoretically slow that down by half, which isn't a great slow motion, but it's good enough to do things like maybe you're getting a shot of for Jay, like maybe you're shooting a skateboard and you're moving in on the skateboard. Even just slowing that down by half gives it a slower, more steady shot anyway. So that's what I use.
It does look like it's stuttering a a little bit. I don't mind that look. It's actually a cool.
If it stutters,
yeah.
That's just if you're slowing down like 30 frames per second already. That's when it stutters.
Yeah, if you're slowing down 30 frames to 15, and then you're uploading to YouTube, which then bumps it back to 30, then you're going to get stuttering. But if you're shooting in 60 and then slowing down to 30, it's silk smooth. Yeah, you're just losing half the frames. Yeah.
So I'm back playing around. Yeah.
Another thing to think of too, and GoPro, YouTube actually favor in their algorithm a 4K video over a 1080. Now, Daryl Eves has done tests on this where he's uploaded the exact same video shot and delivered in 1080 and then shot and delivered in 4K on two different channels with the exact same metadata. And he's gone searching and literally shown where the video that's shot in 4K with everything the same ranks higher than the video shot in 1080. So it doesn't work all the time. There's obviously other factors, but if that's going to give your video just that little bit more of an edge to get above someone else and go onto the right of the page for recommended, I say it's worth it.
Can I ask what is 4K? Like what is because when I do 4K, like what is it? Like instead of like 1080 by whatever, does it have to be 4,000 or is it 38 something? Because that's what I edit in is 38 something.
Yeah, there's Ultra HD, which is like the cinema. The terminologies that the cinema uses is 4K, and then there's Ultra HD, and they're slightly different in terms of how wide they are. I don't know the exact number. I'm not that much of a tech geek to know all that, but yeah, you've got two versions of it, and most cameras won't give you the cinema version. They'll just give you the UHD, and as far as YouTube's concerned, that's the one that you need anyway, because they don't give you that option to go to that cinema version anyway. Perhaps if anyone that knows the exact number wants to comment in the comments, that'd be great. But yeah, you're looking for the yeah. Actually, Joe, you got your laptop there. Look it up. Look up a UHD versus 4K, and there'll be a slight different. There'll be like 4,096 or something.
Yeah, because I think the earlier versions of Creator Cast actually pumped it out in 4096 version. I forget the.
Yeah, so cinema is 4096 by 2160.
Yeah.
And then 3840 by 2160 is the normal Ultra HD.
Okay, that's what I've been using.
And that UHD one is the one that YouTube lets you. So if you upload higher than that, it'll bump it back to that anyway.
Okay, good. Then I'm doing the right thing.
Well, what about drones? Are you shooting in 4K? Or I'm at 1080p.
I'm at 1080.
I do 4K, but then I have it easy to switch over to 1080 at 120. So if I want that slow motion, and I just upscale to 4K.
Yeah. Okay.
Upscaling's cool, man. I upscale as well, especially if you're not upscaling by much. Like you can fake it and it looks convincing. Like if you're in the ocean and
Ben, because you shoot everything you do everything in 4K. Have you ever looked at your stats, like how many people watch your stuff in 4K?
To be honest, I couldn't care about that. Like I don't care how you watch my content.
Future anyways, but yeah, it was just.
It'd be interesting to find out what percentage of people are actually watching your stuff in 4K. Like now versus like 5 years, there'll probably be more.
Yeah.
Could be a good long-term project to check out and plot a graph and see where it's gone. But yeah, at this point, I don't really care how you watch it as long as you watch it.
That's true.
Beautiful.
We're out of time.
No,
that's a quick episode.
I like that episode. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions about 4K, uploading 4K in Australia, options that you've got, all that kind of, or if you want to watch it, let us know in the comments below.
Check out our
it's
group
weird
on
having
Facebook
like you
too,
physically
right?
here. Like we're not in little screens.
I know it's weird because I have to look over here at you.
We're not looking at
look over there.
Yeah, and like normally my eyes would be like here or here, seeing you, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah. So Facebook group, just look down in the description. Be part of that. We're creating a movement here, and we want to.
And the more people we get, the more people we have on our live streams, which we talked about last time. So
that's it.
Keep pumping it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one, and I think the next one will be hosted by one of you two.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway,
figure it out.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, Mr. Benon in Sydney.
See you, fellas.
Woo! Catch you later.
See ya.